All right, we're live. Hello, everybody. How's it going? Happy day to you. Hope that you have had a wonderful day and you're having a wonderful conclusion to that day. So, anyway, how's everybody doing? Clap your hands. That is a cha-cha slide. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I am coming on because it's time for our Tuesday night powwow where we get to talk about all things career related. So I am going to be talking to you tonight. We're going to be talking about some lessons that I've learned from switching careers. And so I know that for the people who are tuning in to this broadcast, switching careers is a really big concern for you. It's something that you are desiring to do and wanting to figure out how to do. And so I am going to share with you some of the experiences that I have had switching my career twice. So you can, glean some of these lessons learned and apply them to yourself. And hopefully they will help you to keep moving forward and pushing toward your career aspirations. That's the whole point of this thing. So I am Vashana Weatherspoon, career strategist and excellence accelerator, helping women who feel frustrated in their careers to emerge from stuck and surge to their next level of success. I am also the host of the Know Your Worth Career podcast, which is centered around helping women to maneuver the situations that we often find ourselves in the workplace as it relates to money and opportunities and career satisfaction and knowing the worth and value that you bring to the workspace. So let's jump into it. If you know someone who is looking to switch their careers, invite them to the broadcast so that they can hear this information and be able to utilize it in their own experiences. So tag a friend, tag a coworker, invite them on in, or better yet, just share the broadcast. There's lots of people out here who could benefit from this information. So let's get to it. So according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, only 9%, single-digit 9% of Americans stay at a company for 20 years or more, or for more than 20 years. That means 91% of people change jobs throughout the course of their careers. So it's very common for people to switch jobs and to, change to different things so that they could, for different reasons. People do it for different reasons. But because of all the technology that we have available to us today, it's very easy to go back to school and get a degree. You can do it online. They're so accessible. Now, it might be cost prohibitive, but it depends on which route you go. But there's lots of certifications and just all kinds of things that we can do to up-level our knowledge, to up-level our skill set so that we are able to switch careers to create more satisfaction for ourselves in the work that we do. And we deserve that. All of us deserve to have a career that we actually enjoy getting up in the morning to go to. I'm a firm believer in that. So what I'm going to talk to you today is about some of the things that I've learned from switching my careers. And if you've been following me, you might have heard this already, but it's worth repeating again. So my story is that when I got out of undergraduate school, I got a job with absolutely no experience. All I had was a degree in my career field, even though the job announcement that I applied to said that I needed to have XYZ number of years of experience. I applied anyway, passed the test, got the job, worked as a counselor for 4 years while I went to graduate school. And so I went to graduate school part-time for 4 years while I was working my job as a counselor for those 4 years. And I was getting my degree, my master's degree in something totally different than what I was working in, than the field I was working in. And so, even though that's what I had started out with, and I decided I was going to do something different. And so I invested the time in going back to graduate school to get the education that I needed to be able to move over to this other arena, which happened to be in the administrative realm in management. And so I did that. And after the end of the 4 years, I got a job in administration and management in the public health arena. And so I totally switched jobs. I mean, I totally switched careers. I totally switched industry. So I didn't just switch jobs. I did something that I had never done before, had absolutely no experience in. Counseling is a whole different beast from going and learning how to manage programs, how to develop programs, how to set up programs, how to manage large budgets and people and logistics and all kinds of things, building relationships. I mean, the relationship part might have been a transferable skill, but all the rest of that stuff was stuff that was totally new. But I did it. I was able to maneuver that. That was a process also, because the way I got that job was through an internship that was only available to graduating people who were graduating from graduate school. And so you had to be nominated, and that's how I got into that whole thing. But I went through that whole process, and this is just to say that this is one way that you can do it. So it doesn't have to always be, having this job and then you go cold into another job. Sometimes you can figure out different avenues. So you have to be creative and think outside the box and know what all your options are. So that enabled me to be able to, of course, it was a lot of work, but it enabled me to be able to switch from the counseling career to the administration and management career. And so I did that for quite a number of years until I went through my divorce. And if you've been following me, or if you're new to me, so in 2013, I got divorced after being married. I don't even know how many years, but at any rate, however many it was, it put me into a place where a lot of you are, where you are trying to figure out what it is that you want to do now. You're starting, at least for me, felt like I was starting over. I had a new leash on life, or leash. Hello, LJ Fashions. How are you? And so I was trying to figure out now what do I want to do? And so I started searching and doing this whole soul searching thing that we do when we get to a certain age. And you're experiencing a life altering event. And so it's a normal part of the process. You do the soul searching. You want to figure out, what is my life about? Because the life that I had before was centered around something different. And now it's my next chapter. And for me, I wanted to make that next chapter great. So I took the time and the headache and the heartache and all the things that came with it to try to figure out to design my life, to design the next phase of my life, instead of just continuing on, the track that I was on or that I had been on. And so that was, for me, that was actually quite a bit of time. It was 2013. I think at the end of 2014, I decided I was going to go. I had figured out what I wanted to do. Finally. After it was close to 2 years, to be honest with you, because it was almost 15 when I figured out what I was supposed to do. And when I figured it out, I got on it immediately. And that was another change. So that was the start and the evolution of career change number 2. You want to be in my live, LJ Fashions? Why not? Let's see if that works. So anyway,
Hi, how are you?
Hello. Okay, I got a special guest tonight, ladies.
I was just listening to your story, and I guess I had a question. I don't know if you're taking questions or not.
I'm always taking questions. Why not? I'm just telling my story.
So after you got your divorce, and you said you wanted to figure out your next step. Like, did you meet with a counselor or anything? Like a family counselor?
I have done.
Took time for yourself and mapped it out yourself?
I did a combination of things. I've done so many things. To be honest with you, as part of my personal growth and development, I started off with a counselor because I was trying to, set up some kind of arrangements for my kids and being able to separate and figure out how to move on and all of that kind of stuff. I did the church and, the usual things that people do, and talking to people that I trusted. So I've done a number of things to help me to get to where I needed to go. But the thing that I think was most impactful for me is being able to just really take the time to figure out, for me, just that whole getting in touch with myself and really digging up some old ugly truths. Because you have to do that. You really have to be able to own up to some of the things that are in your past, some of the skeletons in your closet, and just say, this is what it is, and I choose something different. So to me, it was a spiritual thing. It was a really huge spiritual awakening for me. And the more understanding I got about, realities and different levels of spirituality, different from what I knew when I was growing up as a kid, then it really helped to expand my mind, because it really was about mindset. I had a certain mindset about things and how I thought they were supposed to be and what I thought was expected of me. And when I learned to let go of all of that, then I could start to, see clearly and figure out for myself what it is that I needed to do that was separate from what everybody else thought I should be doing. So that's a long answer to a question, but it's kind of complicated. It's not like it was a simple, straightforward thing for me. It took a while.
Okay.
It really did. But thank you for your question.
Well, thanks for adding me.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Okay. Bye. Okay, that was a nice distraction in the live. But anyway, I guess you got to hear a little bit more of my story, more than I was going to tell on this live tonight. But all of that to say, all of that is true, everything that I just said. So for you, it might look like something different, but those are steps that we have to go through to help us to figure out what's right for us. So I always say that, especially when people are writing and they're saying they don't know what they want to do next. And my thing is, you have to be willing to do the hard work to figure out what that next thing is, because nobody can tell you what it is. You have to be able to figure that out and come to those conclusions and draw those answers for yourself, because that's the only way that you're going to know that the answer is the right answer. And when you get that answer and you feel peace about it, every important decision that I've ever had to make, and I struggled with them, and I might have labored with them for a little bit longer than I should have. But when I got to the point where I was crystal clear about what my next step was and what the next thing, what right thing was for me, and when I acted on that decision, I got total peace. Like, it was no doubting, no second guessing, none of that. It was like peace and calm within my inner being. And so for me, that's what I use to help me to decide if I'm making the right decisions. But back to my story. So, and that's when I decided, okay, it's time for something different. I've done this and I did this because I felt like I had an obligation. I got a family to feed and all of these kinds of things. And I still had all of that. But I knew that I wanted to do something different. Like that, I felt like there was something more. And when the first job I had, I really enjoyed that job, but that job did not pay enough money. I'm just going to be honest with you. So my first career change was not for satisfaction necessarily. It was more for financial gains. When I did it the second time, it was strictly and purely for creating more satisfaction and happiness and meaning. That was the point of it. And so that's why I had to go through all of that soul searching. That's why it took me so long, because I had to figure out what that right thing was for me. And so what I decided to do at that point was to go and get my coaching certification. And it wasn't that different from what I had started off doing. So, it was kind of an easy thing. And when I got into it, the more I got into it, the more I realized that it was just something I absolutely loved. And so that was career transition change number 2, which actually is still in progress. So getting to those lessons learned that I wanted to talk to you about was, the first thing is that there are no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts to figuring out what it is that's going to help you to have that meaning and fulfillment and enjoyment that you want in your career. So you can work with the coach, you can work with the counselor, you can do all of those things, and those things are going to give you some good insight. But at the end, it's no shortcut for going through the whole process and steps of figuring it out. First of all, you have to make a decision. You have to take action. You have to be consistent. You have to show up day after day, and until you get what it is that you said that you wanted, whatever it was that was your goal. You have to do that. And then the other thing, one of the really important things I learned is that you don't have to have all of the answers up front. And that was something that kind of probably made me stay stuck a little bit longer than I needed to, because I felt like I needed to be crystal clear. And I needed to have all of it figured out, when really I didn't. I didn't need to have everything figured out. All I needed to do was to figure out what my interests were and to pursue it enough to say, yeah, that's a go, or no, go back to the drawing board. But when you're one of these planners and thinkers and all of these things that I am, and I own up to it, then you get stuck in that position, in that situation, until you figure out that, there could be a different way. And like I was talking to Nicole, my special guest who jumped on, until you figure out what, I'm moving my notes around here because I want to make sure these are really important lessons, and I want to make sure I share all of them with you. But anyway, until you figure out what that thing looks like. So the other thing is, don't be afraid to try things. And even if you're scared, do it anyway. Do it scared, and you don't have to have all that certainty like I was talking about. You just need to be committed to doing whatever it takes to make it work. So you don't have to be worried about failing or, whatever else people worry about, because it really doesn't matter. Because if you do something and it doesn't work out, what you got is a lesson. What you got is information. What you got is knowledge. And now you know that you need to do something different, and you have something to help to guide you in terms of what that different thing is that you need to start doing. And if it doesn't work, you can always do something different. So that's the great thing about it. And that's something I had to learn, because that is not something that was natural and it came to me naturally. I had to learn this, which is part of that expanding my mindset and my thinking about things, because it's just not the way I process things. It just is not. And I would be lying if I sat here and I said that it was. But at any rate, so all you need is to be committed. You don't need all of this other stuff that people let keep them hung up. And the other thing is that you are not new. Now, this one was this tripped me up, because I would think about, I wanted to do something new. I had never done that thing before. Not thinking about, you've done this before. It's not the first time you've done something new. But what I learned is that new doesn't mean that you started over from the beginning. It just means you're doing something that you have not done before. But all of the things that you have done before, they still count, and you bring them with you. My tendency, especially when I started this coaching thing, was to want to put everything that I had done before behind me, not even bring it up, not even mention it. So when I'm telling you up front all of the things that I did before, I didn't even want to talk about that because I was like, I want to separate myself from that. When in actuality, everything that I've gone through has brought me to where I am. It has formed my opinions. Has formed who I am. It has informed how I show up, or that I even get on this live and show up, because there was a time when I probably wouldn't have. As a matter of fact, it took my coach a while to get me to actually show up and do lives, because I felt like, what am I going to talk about? And who's going to listen to me? Until I realized that, there are people who are further along than me, but there are a whole lot of people who haven't gotten anywhere close to where I have gotten to. And so there's stuff that I know that I've learned that I can share that can help others. And so that's why I keep showing up, because I realize that there's value in that, and that people need what I have to offer. And so that's another thing that I learned, a lesson that I learned on this journey, is to stop being my own biggest critic, to stop criticizing and to stop judging myself, and to share what I know, because people want to know it too, because they don't. Some people don't. Some people don't. And so, let me see if I'm missing anything. Oh, these are some good ones. I'm almost done, but a couple of other things. One was like about getting around the people who are doing what you want to do. So for me, especially on the entrepreneurship side, I mean, my mother owned a business when I was growing up, but that was her business. I didn't really get involved in that. And actually, she's done her own little thing throughout my lifetime, actually, but I wasn't really involved in that. So I only know from the outside looking in. I don't know the inside and the details or anything. So when I started wanting to do my own business, it was totally new to me, and I was doing something totally different than what I had seen before. And so it required a whole learning process and a learning phase to figure out what is it that you need to do. And so in order to do and to stay motivated and to have a group of people that you can talk to about it who are in the same space, because it's different talking to your family members about your big business ideas versus talking to another group of entrepreneurs who are out there, making it happen. And so I had to learn to get in circles or in company with other people who were doing the things that I was doing or wanted to do. So that was an important distinction. So this is a business thing, but if you're trying to switch careers and get into another area, then you want to get around people who are doing what you want to do. And then the other thing is choosing things. And I talked a lot about trying to figure out what that next thing is and what it looks like and what you want it to be. Choosing things that really light you up, that energize you. When I got on this live tonight, and I think I said this one day last week or whatever, I've been to work all day. Okay? I've been to work all day. I drove home an hour commute, and I was sleeping when I got home. But at 8 o'clock, it was time to do the live. And so what I did was I got behind the camera. And when I got behind the camera, all the energy came to me. So you want to find out what that thing is that energizes you. What is it that, really gets you excited? It'll wake you up from feeling like you're about to tilt over and go to sleep, and you just wake up and you're awake and live and you're energetic and energized and ready to go. Find that thing. Because that is the thing that's going to help you to really get in the zone, help you to really tap into your creative genius and to be able to do work that you really enjoy. That's going to bring you your satisfaction and your fulfillment. So that's your clue. Pay attention when you get into those kinds of situations and you're doing that kind of work. And I think those are all the lessons that I've learned, guys. I was checking my notes to make sure because I don't want you to miss anything. But so that's it. So what I am going to do is to end this live because I'm gone on much longer than I intended to. Thanks to Nicole, she asked me such an important question and I had to elaborate on it. But what I am going to do, if you are someone who is looking to switch your careers and you're not quite sure what it is that you need to be doing, what you need to be considering, I've just told you some lessons that I've learned, but I actually have created a guide. It's called Everything You Need to Know to Switch Careers. And I developed this guide because it's one of the most common comments that I hear from career women who are stuck and frustrated in their careers and they want to figure out how to make it better. They are asking about how do I go about switching my career? How do I go about making a change? And so I put together a video guide that will take you through all of the different things that you need to consider, that you need to address in order to be able to successfully switch your careers. Not next year, not 5 years from now, but starting today. You can do this starting today. And again, like I said, anything that's worth having takes effort. It takes time, consistency to be able to make it come to fruition. But if you go through the steps and do the things that I have identified, you will be well on your way to finding your next right career choice. So I am going to drop the link right now. And let's see if it worked. It's on Facebook. It should be on Facebook and Periscope and all of those places. Let's see if I can get it in my, I'm going to come back and see if I can post it on Instagram because I don't want to be hesitating around here while I type something. But at any rate, so that's what I have for you guys. Take advantage. It's absolutely free. You do have to opt in so we can get your information and be able to send it to your inbox. But there's no obligation beyond that. You take the guide, take the information, put it into practice, and let me know how it works for you. That's the string that's attached. Let me know how it works for you, what did work, what didn't work, so we can fine tune the process. So that's all I have for you guys tonight. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I will see you again tomorrow and take care. Bye-bye.